Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to kind of do a quick unboxing and overview of the Colossus XT by CEN. This is more of a comparison video to a couple of the Redcat trucks that I feel basically this truck should be competing with, basically either a price point or size. But again, I'm not going to cover too much on the vehicle itself. You know, maybe go over everything, but I do want to get my first thoughts, first opinion of looking at the vehicle, knowing from a Redcat perspective, which I've been a dealer for 3 years, but I just got with a few more manufacturers. I'm going to be trying to do a couple other videos and definitely compare some things here in the future, especially with like the e-Revo to the BE6S. Been wanting to do that for a while. I used to own an e-Revo. Might throw the big rock in there since I do own one of them. But yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do today, is compare this truck to like the Rampage 1/5 scale and the BE6S, which again, both of them I feel are the closest comparison from what Redcat has to offer. So I mean, I'm pretty sure this truck's going to be a beast, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be very impressive. But again, I'm looking at it from a little bit different angle, and I wanted to see what it does to the Redcat value point of what that BE6S is, as well as what the Rampage is. So I do want to show you guys something real quick, just in case you have a BE6S or you've been looking at one, or maybe an MT8E. Look at the box size difference. I mean, it's a pretty good size box difference. It's a large box for that Colossus. So I mean, it's a 1/7 scale. This is a 1/8 scale, but the BE6S is kind of a larger 1/8 scale. So I never really thought of it being a smaller truck, but that box came in today and I was like, oh man. Alright, we'll go ahead and get cracking on this thing. Very, very flimsy cardboard. I mean, I'm not going to hold that against them. Well, it's very hard to get this box out because it's so much thicker and more durable than the outer box, so you got to be careful because I just ripped that. Seems like they would have saved a little bit of money if they would have just made this the, image in the CEN box, with the slide on top, because that's what's inside of that box, and it's just pain in the ass to get that thing out. Alright, well, it's well packaged in there, for sure. Go ahead and crack this thing, get her out of here real quick. We'll just go ahead and get this off, and we'll take a look at everything out on the table. Alright, so there's your contents. Pretty much the truck, the remote, and the connections here. It looks like it gives you, in case you want to solder on your own batteries, it gives you the actual XT90s that you need. Probably a wrench in there. And the manual for the remote, for some reason, is in here, where you get a nice box like that. I don't understand why you wouldn't just put it in there, but it's the programming guide for the ESC. Oh yeah, it's the wrench. So it's a 17 millimeter, or 23, I should say. This is 23 millimeter to take off the wheels, which we might do. And then there's a color manual. So I'm not going to go over that. Again, it's all basic stuff, but it's pretty nice color manual. I did see it in the unboxing video. So it's got a Mod 3S controller. I mean, I saw a video on this as well. It looks alright. I mean, for a basic, I should say for a ready to run unit remote control. I mean, it comes in its own little box, and also I thought that was pretty cool. Makes it at least like it's something. Whether it is or not, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, so we'll see how it feels. Yeah, they package all their stuff in as tight as they can. So that's the remote. It's a rubber wheel. On off. It's all digital trim, clearly marked. So you got your steering, throttle, trim. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's got everything set pretty much how you would need it to be able to see it. I mean, black on black isn't always the best because you got to kind of turn it at an angle to kind of see it, but for a standard remote, I'm not going to knock it. It feels good, so I'll leave it at that for now. No antenna, so it's probably got just a stronger system, and it's still 2.4, but I guess it's got a stronger antenna in it that doesn't need to have the little nub there, but that's technology nowadays. So, alright, let's take a peek at this truck. Well, first things first, I can tell you that this truck is super light. I mean, it's about 15, I think they've got it as 15 pounds, right around there, but just picking it up in general, I mean, just taking this truck out of the box, just picking the box itself up, I mean, it's a very light truck for the truck of this size. I mean, these rims, I mean, these are some good sized tires too, so like I said, we'll get some side-by-side comparisons here. Everything on this truck right now, from what my eyes can just peek at, is very impressive. I mean, I'm looking at the size of those shocks right now, which we'll get the top off and take a look, but it's going to be a tough competition for the Rampage here. BE6S, we'll be looking at some other stuff as well, since it's a whole different scale, but just again, overall comparisons to that. So, all right, let me get this going. I mean, so the shell's thick. I guess it's thick for what it is, but I mean, it's got some it's very flexible. Maybe a little too flexible, I don't know. This body will definitely benefit from the guys that like to do the shoe goop, you know, me, Gorilla Tape, you know, some people like to spray the bed liner in there. Either way, whatever your preference is, this body's definitely going to benefit from that. So, again, it's a light vehicle, but it does seem to have a lot of flex. So I don't think it's not going to crack as easily as I think some of the other ones are, but just, it's very, very wobbly. So, no big deal there. This thing is huge. It's got a real long center riding chassis, which I think I'm gonna love. We'll see here. It's just the shocks, the size of the shocks are pretty big. I don't know if you can tell kind of just by looking at them on camera. These are long but durable. I mean, they're not real flimsy. This is I believe it's a 1450 6S motor. Oops, get my camera in the way there. That's where the battery goes. I know with the battery that they make an upgrade for this, so I was seeing that, so I'm assuming it's to accommodate bigger batteries, and also maybe has a higher sidewall to hold double stack batteries, because unless you're running one 6S battery in here and altering the cords, it's designed for 2 batteries and to stack them. So I've had that, it works, but that top battery is going to want to slide around a little bit, especially I can already see it where it would slide at if you do it, just from what I know. If you go bashing and slam that front end on the ground, that's what's going to happen. So, but again, that's no big deal. They do make one. I like to compare that and see what it is different, if it is the side rails that are different, kind of bringing it up. But other than that, I mean, it looks fine. This is intriguing. Oh, let's see. That's not supposed to be like that. So the ESC tape is up. So I have to push that down. I was wondering, it looked like it was sitting at an angle, and I'm like, yeah, it's a weird angle for an ESC. I didn't recall seeing it like that. So this is up too. So I'm assuming this went here. It's always good to see out the box. We'll see how long that lasts. So it looks like it's basically a quick run 150. Probably debranded. But although it does have Hobby Wing written on the side of the truck, so it may be the actual true quick run. And this motor does not have any Hobby Wing writing on it, but it is a 1450. And it actually goes, looks like it goes in here as well, so I have to check out the gearing mesh and the transmission on this. It is it's a nice center ride chassis, man. I mean, the drive shafts are decent size for a truck this size. There's your servo, which I know it's a high torque servo. Man, so again, guys, I wasn't planning on getting into details and specs because this truck's been out for a while. But what I am showing you and trying to see for myself is just the way the truck is built. And I mean, you got hard plastic skids here, which look like they would have upgraded ones in aluminum very easily. I mean, this is just like a plate that goes over here, so that would be really easy to make an aluminum upgrade if they don't already have it. Arms are nice, solid. I like these solid arms. It's usually more beefier feeling. It's got a real solid bumper. It feels really good. So we'll get into our comparisons on the drive shafts, which I think this is a 6mm drive shaft. It's got the receiver box here, which is waterproof. It's on the bottom, which is, again, just weird. I've never seen that before. But again, I haven't dealt with a ton of vehicles besides the Traxxas vehicles and the Redcat vehicles that I've owned, with the exception of the old school Tamiya and those back in the day. But game's changed a lot since then, so I did want to point out these rear toe links, man. Some wild rear toe links. So usually I'm used to seeing toe links on the inside. This one's got the shocks on the inside and the toe links on the outside, and they're some pretty good thickness, like the heads and everything. Just, they got a good feel. Doesn't feel like there's a lot of play in them, so that's good. Again, these springs are really big. Have a lot of bounce to them, so we'll see. You know, I always do the upgraded shock oil and things like that, so I'll probably wind up doing that as well with this, and that'll fix any issue I might have there. These are adjustable, big bore, again, very thick springs, so I do like that. So I mean, overall, man, my initial thoughts of this truck is I love the side rail setup. It just is a lightweight, looks like a very bashable, you know, not very hard to bend that chassis. You know, I'm sure you could, but it's really hard to have like that chassis bend from bashing too much. Where you might get some bashing problems is the flex it might put here somewhere, but maybe pulling off here if you bash that front, but then you're replacing just a plate. You know, of course, this is all attached to your servo, so you hope it doesn't come off here, but if it did, you're just replacing this and not rebuilding your whole truck. So you might have to check your servo saver if that rips off like that. But again, you're not building a whole chassis, motor and all, switching everything over to the new chassis, I should say. So again, I mean, it's a very, very light truck, man. Love it. It's going to be it's definitely going to be a fun experience driving this truck. I love the size of the stock tires. You know, it's just an impressive looking truck. So, and I can't find, other than my stuff being off, I can't really find anything that I really don't like about it, just by looking at it. Once I figure out the center transmission, I mean, this is just new to me. It's like closed off, and like this goes around the motor, and I don't see how it attaches, and it doesn't look like it's very easy to motor mesh right now, or the gear mesh. But again, I'm sure once I look into the vehicle a little bit more, there's probably an easier way to do it that I'm just not seeing right now. But I have no access to the pinion to get a good gear mesh. You can't see it, so maybe this cover comes off and it exposes it. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. So, but all right, let me go ahead and get the Rampage up next to this thing so we can do an overall comparison. Might even have to bring out the scale and get a weight on the Rampage, because I'm sure it's going to be a lot heavier than this thing. So here we have the Rampage 1/5 scale. Mine's a little bit more upgraded than the stock one, but again, I'm not going to be going over the upgrades and things like that. I'm just more going over the design and the drive shafts and things which are not upgraded, so I'll be able to get good comparisons there. But you can see this is definitely more of a 1/6 scale. This is a 1/5 scale, so clearly, you know, we're looking at a little bit of a difference here. And I mean, I definitely consider this a 1/6 scale because of the size of it in comparison to some of my larger 1/8 scales. I mean, I know it's definitely a good bit bigger than my 1/8 scales, and here it is next to the 1/5 scale, and it's almost right there with it. So I'm going to call it about a 1/6 scale. you know, they're calling it a 1/7 scale. So I guess that just really depends on the monster truck that it's designed off of, what the scale model would be. But again, when we're talking RC, it's a very large truck. So I'm going to be comparing the drive shafts and getting measurements of those. Definitely look to be a little thicker on the actual CEN than what the Rampage ones do, but we'll get an exact measurement. I know the ones underneath aren't as thick because I've already seen those, and these definitely look to be thicker than even those. But yeah, let's cover that real quick to get some measurements, and we'll see where this thing stacks up. Alright, you can kind of see it's a little bit wider, but the chassis is much fatter, of course, on the Rampage, but it's definitely a wider vehicle and a little bit longer. Just wanted to give that visual comparison. I mean, if you did it by visual, or if you did it by actual width, that would be the actual width difference from end to end. That tire's on the complete end over there, so that's how much wider the Rampage is. Alright, so getting right at it. Alright, so that one's about an 8mm drive shaft. And the Rampage is 6mm. So, I mean, it's about 2mm thicker drive shaft in the front of that, the CVA. So that's very nice, actually, when you're considering the scale size difference that these are supposed to be. And it's a 6mm here, so they do use, I don't get it. I would think they would want to use the same size drive shafts all the way around, but I mean, 6 is still decent for this truck. I wouldn't even be mad if these were 6, but these are upgraded. The hubs, everything are upgraded on this, you know, thicker. So I really think they emphasized, I guess, for the larger tires that, you know, the drivetrain, CVA, stub axles, and knuckles and things like that are going to be larger, whereas, you know, maybe this didn't have to be. You know, I guess it still feels pretty thick. I mean, the drive cups are still thick as well. Not as thick as the Rampage, I can tell that by visually, but it's about a 14mm drive cup girth-wise. It's definitely sufficient, and these are a little bit thinner than these, so I'm not going to take away from that. Like I said, it's definitely a nice system. The thickness of arms, going with the thickest part here. It's about a 10.36. And this one's about 12.88, so about 2.5mm thicker on the arm. Now you can see they're clearly much wider. It's about 59mm there. And 67, so about 8 or 9mm wider as well as thicker. So it's just it's a larger scale vehicle. I mean, of course that's what you're going to get when you have a larger scale vehicle. You get the bigger chassis. This thing's monstrous as far as just width wise. Let me give you an idea. You know, I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but it's definitely the center rail system. It's got a nice design to it. I do like it. I don't dislike this. So this is probably part of the reason why this truck's 4 pounds heavier, which I did do the weighing on this one. This one is a 19-pound vehicle. This is a 15-pound vehicle. So 4 pounds. A lot of that comes from the little bit of extra thicker parts and things like that, and this chassis. So that's, you know, nothing surprising there. But you know, as large as that vehicle is with the bigger tires, you know, it might have equaled out a little bit, but there's so much lighter of a frame right here that it's equaling it out, where this is still a lighter vehicle. Alright, get these things flipped back over and we'll take a look at some more. Alright, so real quick, a couple more things and then we'll wrap this one up. Just want to show the shocks. Now these are upgraded shocks, but the bore is the same for the stock and the upgraded, so just off the threads, I think about 19.04, 24, so it's about 5 millimeter thicker bore shock. So they're definitely thicker. It's got the bigger shock spring. That's nice. The stock towers look pretty beefy for plastic towers. These are not the stock towers, of course. These are 7075 towers, but the original ones are thinner plates, probably about a millimeter thinner than this. And it's got a black plastic part on the back of it, so it's like a partial aluminum plastic. Definitely this design, even though that's aluminum and plastic, I mean, this is very thick plastic here, so I'm going to say that this is probably a better shock tower. I can't say it on the shocks because these are longer travel shocks, and you know, again, they're aluminum. This is plastic, it looks like. Yeah, this is plastic, so they're plastic shocks, so you're getting a better shock out the box with it. Even the stock ones are aluminum. So, you know, again, aluminum shocks, aluminum capped, plastic. Again, some people don't really care, but if you go to upgrade shocks, these things are huge. And, you know, you would like for something to come on this truck that you wouldn't have to upgrade shock-wise. I know they had a couple of these that had some leaking shocks and things like that. I was told that they were fixing anything if it had a leak to it. I checked all mine. I don't see any leaks at the factory, so, you know, if it starts leaking on me, I'll worry about that then. But definitely we'll be putting some more shock oil in it, because it doesn't seem like it's got the full bounce that I want. But again, we're not going to go over that right now. All right, to wrap up the Rampage, you're pretty much, if you're looking for a 1/5 scale truck and you're comparing, you know, the 600 and roughly around 650, I think it is for the Rampage, and 650 for what this is. So you're looking at about the same price, roughly, no matter what you do. This one out the box comes with two 3S lipos. This one does not. This one's going to have a large scale 1/5 scale servo. This one's got a standard servo. Again, the tires are fairly light, but these are bigger than this. So it's actually, you know, you could put these tires on here. They do make a 23 and 24 millimeter upgrades from this, like Kershaw has. So you could even get a set of tires, something like this, for this. But the point is, you get the bigger servo to do more work and more heavy turning. So better battery design for this particular truck, better layout at least than what I'm seeing from this right now. Again, I don't know how well that's going to work with bashing with those two batteries stacked like that. But drive shafts, CVAs look thicker. I will pull off the tires and we will look at these, because I did say we're going to do that. So I'm going to pull off one tire of each on the way out and we'll take a look at that. But I did want to show you the hubs as well. Seems like with these 23 millimeter hexes, the knuckle is actually about the same size. You know, I looked at the hub and everything. This all seems to be about the same size as the stock one. I do have that out here somewhere, but I just moved it. But regardless, you know, I'm not going to show you anything different. These are big and beefy because they have the bigger tires, the bigger drive shaft. So I guess they wanted their knuckle to be beefy too. So I do like the thickness of this, and it's got a really good feel. So you know, again, nothing really bad to say about this truck whatsoever for the price point. You know, guys, you can check my website. It is listed on there now at a really good price on there. But just comparing apples to apples, you know, if you're looking at the two vehicles and, you know, you're at that price point, you know, do you want a 6S vehicle that's going to give you some motor limitations as far as what you can go to and how big of a motor you can put on it without modifying? Or are you looking for something in the 1/5 scale that you're going to put some giant tires on, that's going to have the larger servo capability for you, bigger motor headroom? You know, definitely go up to, I think, 100 millimeter motor on this, maybe even longer, I'm not sure, but I know there's about at least another 10 millimeters back there, and this is a 92. So again, you know, great trucks, both of them, but out the box experience, I haven't really had any with this yet. Just kind of visually though, it's an awesome truck. It's got that HPI type side rail. I like that design. I love the look of the truck. And, you know, again, I already know I love this truck. It's just the heaviness, the weight of this truck, the size of the tires being a 10 millimeter. There's things like that I don't like about this truck as well. But here, this truck corrects some of that, but yet not gives you everything. So if I'm purchasing a vehicle, if I got $650 in my pocket, I'm going to probably, you know, knowing what I know right now, I'm probably going to lean, it's tough It really is out the box tough. I haven't driven this one to know speed-wise, but you do need to get batteries. This one's going to come with batteries, but I'm going to negate the fact that this comes with batteries because you're looking at like 8 to 10 minute runtime with those two 3900s that it gives you. So we're going to act like it doesn't give you batteries because you're still going to be buying batteries for this thing if you want to have any kind of fun with it. So, negating that fact, which is a plus normally, the thickness of this thing, the way everything's built, I'm still probably going to go the CEN just because it's a lighter vehicle. It's got the bigger tires out the gate. It's got real nice big thick shocks. Looks like they're going to be great for jumping. It's got a thicker shocks tower, built. Even though this has that aluminum plate that it's going to go on it, these still feel better. With the center ride system, I know I'm going to get a nice balanced ride out of it. Again, the drivetrain, CVAs, things like that are thicker. The knuckles and things like that are the same size or thicker. Just there's certain reasons for it. Again, batteries for battery, you need to get them. Not thrilled about the battery thing, the way they're laid out, but I'm sure we'll look into the upgrade a little bit more. Maybe there'll be something to that fixes it. So, but I'm going to CEN just for the reasons I've stated, none other. Again, if you're looking for the 8S, which I'm not right now until Kershaw fixes this motor design, or 775 ever releases theirs that's been on there, then I might readdress this truck and say, hey man, 8S, this is going to be a beast. But it's going to take a lot to get the 8S, and you're going to be putting more money back into it, but you at least have that option, whereas right now with this thing, I don't think you will. So again, great trucks, both of them. You're going to make your own decision based on how you're going to drive it. So that's kind of what I wanted to show, man. These are awesome trucks, both of them. Next, I'm going to do the comparison to the BE6S, which it's not even going to be scale size, a fair comparison, but price point and performance wise, it is. That's kind of why I want to go over that vehicle, being that it's the other one that's the closest to it in price point or value that Redcat has to offer. So, all right, let me get this all cleaned up. I may do another video. So if this video ends, it will be a separate video for the BE6S. Just kind of depends on editing, when the runtime or how much runtime's on there and things like that. So if you don't see the BE6S, tune in. It'll be somewhere right behind this one.